Hello, this is ex-Bethelite here. And if you are a woman in the organization, the Jehovah's Witnesses, I really almost did not know where to start with this because in the organization, women have to be less protected uh, and treated about as poorly as they are in any religious group. Now, you may say, but Marcus, in Islam, isn't it said? I say, isn't it said because I'm not studied up on Islam, that it's okay to hit women. If that's your wife and she's not listening, is it okay to hit her? Is it alluded to somewhere in a scripture, a hadith, or something to that effect? That may be possibly true. And if so, that would be the only group of people that I'm aware of that religiously treat women about as bad as they are treated in the organization. Because if you are a woman in the organization and your husband hits you, verbally abuses you, and I don't mean light hitting. I've heard of women being pushed up against the wall and hitting the wall so hard. For example, hitting the door so hard that the doorknob goes into the woman's back and she gets injured. The woman got injured because of how hard she was pushed up against the wall and verbally abused and hit and everything else. If you're in that sort of situation and you go to the body of elders, we've all heard it. What happens? Well, you need to be more submissive. Uh, he doesn't really mean it. You don't go outside and tell the police about domestic abuse. You go to the elders and they basically empower the man to continue beating the woman. So now this isn't necessarily in the Bible, but it's almost organizational procedure in how it is handled, that men can beat women and women can't get out of the marriage unless one or the other sleeps with someone else. I don't know too many other Christian groups that I've heard of that you can be getting beaten, but you can't get out of the marriage, which basically gives consent to an abusive person to continue doing what he's doing. There's no reason for him to stop. He's not going to get in trouble. He may get talked to, but that would probably be about it. There's also sexual abuse that takes place. This person will, of course, remain nameless unless she wants people to know her name. She told me that, as a youth, when she was very young, probably first grade, something to that effect, she was left in someone's car group for field service that was not a relative. I don't know that her parents knew who their daughter was working with very well. And at some point, he took the little girl into the men's restroom, I'm guessing at the Kingdom Hall, in the men's restroom, and said something to the effect that he would give her something. I don't know if it was candy. I don't know if it was cake or something like that. He would give her something if she would let him look under her skirt or dress. From my understanding, the little girl allowed him to do whatever it was that he was doing, but it made her feel so uncomfortable that she went to her parents and told her parents she didn't want to go out in field service anymore. And then she told them why she didn't want to go out in field service, that there was some man touching her or being inappropriate, looking under her dress. Taking her into the bathroom where no one else was and doing things like that. Well, they call the elders. And what do the elders do? They come over and talk to them about the situation and don't do anything to the man who was molesting kids in field service. They didn't do anything to him. And her family didn't go outside of the organization to the police, because everyone knows that it's just the culture, it's just policy that you'd go through the elders. You don't go outside the organization, because everyone outside the organization is not trustworthy. You don't trust people outside. You handle everything inside. So you have women who are not protected because a lot of the molesters, from my understanding, every molester that I've heard of in this organization has been men that have been protected. So the molester may molest men or women. It could be a young boy that they molest also. But the point is, men are protected by the organization that abuse women physically, abuse women sexually, even abuse boys sexually, but they're still protected. So you have to wonder, if you are a woman, how are you feeling safe in an organization like that? Where if anything happens to you, you got to go to a group of men who may be buddies with whoever it is that is verbally, physically, sexually assaulting you, or whatever he's doing. You virtually have no protection, because the whole organization have men in leadership positions. All the leadership positions are filled by men, every last one of them. So do you think the organization is going to be sympathetic to women? No, it's not. The women that go into the judicial hearings, I've heard, I don't know how many times, that there will be a woman who is being investigated by a judicial committee, which will be all men, and she will be asked questions with regards to personal sexual matters. Let's say there were sex involved with her and someone that she wasn't married with. Well, it's hard enough going up to these men and admitting that, but it's even worse if you have a group of men asking you, did you enjoy it? Where exactly did he touch you? Did you climax? How many times did you climax? On and on. Different questions like that. And I have heard from multiple women that have told me their story in judicial hearings, that these men that are asking them sexual questions, prying, asking them about, just the most intimate sexual things, the men that are asking them these questions that are in the judicial hearing are being aroused sexually. One woman said that she could tell that the guy that was asking her, the elder that was asking her the sexual questions, was squirming in his seat so that he could kind of cover his, crotch area from people seeing that he was sexually aroused, he was sexually excited. I've heard of men having some kind of folder or binder or publication, a large publication, they will put in their lap, and the woman sees it. She knows it's obvious that that's what they're doing, but they're putting it in their lap to cover an erection that they're getting from asking this woman, drilling this woman with just any sexual question that they want to ask her. How is that necessary? Why is that necessary? And how is that appropriate for men to be asking women, sometimes really young women? What if a woman is just 18, 19, 20 and something happened and now she's in a room full of older men, maybe all in their 40s, 50s, 60s, however old, are now asking this young girl intimate sexual questions? That is sick, in my opinion. There should obviously be a woman there present or someone there present to protect this young girl who is surrounded by men. And in the congregation in general, women aren't allowed to do much. I've asked people, how are you able to remain awake at the meeting when pretty much all you can do is sit there and raise your hand to give a comment and hope the brother calls on you? Because if he doesn't like you, he may not even call on you. So you really wouldn't even be able to give a comment. You can't carry a microphone when they ask the questions. You can't carry the microphone and hand it to someone because if there's men there, that they're going to allow them to do it. How big of a deal is it to carry a microphone? But no, women aren't really supposed to do that. There's someone that sits in a area where the music is played and the microphones are turned up and down. This person looks important, but trust me, I've done the sound before, and it is not all that hard. All you have to do is when the person hands someone a microphone, you turn it up. And when they're done talking, you turn it down. So if a person drops a microphone, you don't have that big boom sound. So you just turn the microphone down. Or when the person goes up to give a talk, some of the sound systems have the switch that you kind of raise and lower the microphone. That stuff is not hard. They don't let women do that either. That's supposed to be done by men. Now, if you are a woman, you're able to give a little skit with another woman, which they may have taken even that away with the new way the school is set up. They may have even taken that away. Fortunately, I have not been to see the new changes that they have made. I don't know that I could stay awake through that if I were to attend, which is why I don't know how women are able to stay awake through that sort of a thing. So you're getting, women are getting abused physically. That's a fact in this organization. And they are in a position where they have to stay in the marriage unless someone has an affair. So can you imagine if your husband is physically abusive to you and you go and you tell the elder body, and this gets back to him that you told, you're in a dangerous position then, because this is an organization full of men that all know each other. And if one of those guys gets back to this man and says, hey, your wife came to us and said that you did this, that, and the other, you may want to take care of that. This woman may get beaten worse for speaking up. This is serious. I've heard of women being abused by step parents, and nothing being done when it's reported. You think about women not being able to have any title, any position, be able to do anything. They have a counter where literature is passed out. Basically, you just go to the counter to get a magazine or something, and women aren't even allowed to do that. From what I've seen, I've never seen it. I've only seen women or men passing those things out. I mean, you talk about just being viewed as a second place citizen or something like that. You're not allowed to do virtually anything except for you can pioneer. Now, this is interesting. If you're a woman, you can't do diddly in this organization, but the organization needs as many people going out and recruiting more members. They need as many people out recruiting as possible, so they'll let women do that. They'll let women auxiliary pioneer, a nice little flowery title that you get for giving so much of your time to the org. They'll let women pioneer, nice little flowery title you get for spending a good amount of time and resources out recruiting more members for them. They'll let women do that, but won't let them do anything else. Isn't that strange? You can't carry a mic, but you can sure go out in a hot day and knock on them doors, or in a ice cold winter day. You can sure enough go out there and knock on them doors, but you can't cut on the sound and push play on the Kingdom Melody there. That's ridiculous. If you're a woman, then you know there was a time where you couldn't vote. So not only are you in a situation in an organization that doesn't protect you at all, but they don't let you vote. Now, of course, no one in that organization votes, but we're talking about women. So I wonder what people who aren't members of the organization think when a woman who has had the right to vote since, I believe, the 1920s comes up to a coworker and says that, of course she's going to say she doesn't vote, but the truth is she's not allowed to vote. So women who are Jehovah's Witnesses are almost, I say almost, because I wasn't alive in the 1920s. I don't know exactly what was going on. But women who are Jehovah's Witnesses are almost set back to the 1920s as far as their rights. They can't vote. They can't have any position really other than, positions that the organization needs. You're getting physically abused. Some women are getting physically abused, sexually abused, and not really having a voice because none of the people that they, that are reporting on any of this stuff or reporting it to women or someone that can really understand, so they don't really have a voice. I mean, you are set back to the 1920s. If you're a woman and you are a Jehovah's Witness. Think about Bethel Service. Before I served at Bethel, I would go to the meetings that they would have at the assemblies for people interested in Bethel Service. And you would just have women crying because a brother would give a talk before everyone would get up to apply for Bethel Service. And at some point during that talk, he would normally say Bethel is not accepting applications from single sisters unless you have XYZ skill. And you would have women literally crying. You'd have sisters literally walking out of the meeting room because they're not allowed to even apply for Bethel Service if they're single and they're not an RN or an electrician or a plumber or something like that. That is sad that you have to have some outstanding skill to even work in what is called God's house. If it is so wonderful, then why is it that women are discriminated against? Basically, there's nothing wrong with housekeeping or cleaning jobs in general. However, if it is primarily represented by one gender, then you have to have a little bit of a problem with that. If there's nothing wrong with housekeeping or being a housekeeper, but if the organization is only using women to be housekeepers, then you have to look at that. Well, wait a minute. Women aren't even allowed to really get in to Bethel if they are single. And if they marry someone who's a Bethelite, maybe they can get in then. But even then, it's a good chance that you're only going to be a housekeeper. Again, there's nothing wrong with being a housekeeper, but if you're not allowed to be anything else, then that is a problem. So on every floor, everywhere, you're going to see housekeepers, and they're going to be women, or they're working in laundry. You know, unless you have some special skill, that's kind of what I remember seeing. It gets a little bit blatantly obvious that the organization is not really looking out for the best interest of women. And I don't know exactly how women can stand it. And I know that, women think, well, in the paradise, it'll all be better. But I don't know if women are thinking about the organization and how Bethel is structured. Because if you think about the new system, it would probably be an extension of the branch facilities, the way that they're run. They're run by the organization. If the entire planet is then run by the organization in the new system, it would be similar to the way that Bethel is run. And at Bethel, overseers or supervisors are all men. So in the new system, if you are a woman, not only can you look forward to going to meetings that you're not allowed to do anything at, and I haven't even mentioned, this isn't about the new system so much, but the organization and the structure. I haven't mentioned that if you're a woman, you can't even pray in front of your child. If your child is male and is baptized, you have to wear some kind of a head covering to show submission. It's unbelievable. But we'll go back to the new system. You're thinking this new system is going to be just so wonderful if you're a woman, but if you're a woman, you can't do anything diddly in the meetings that they have for worship or what have you. And if it's structured the way the organization is structured now, then if you're a woman, you're not even going to be able to have a good job, really, because all the overseers, the princes mentioned in the Bible, they're all going to be men. So you can look forward, if you're a woman, to petting animals forever, nice little zoo to enjoy forever, and eating fruit and salad and cleaning up after and taking care of a man for all eternity. Isn't that exciting? Doesn't that sound great? You're not going to have an important job because those are all going to be given to men. Doesn't that sound great? Doesn't that sound like a paradise to you? Comment down below. Let me know what you think. I may not even have covered half of what women have to go through. So contact me, comment down below. My number 937-607-5085. Email BETHELITE, the number 7 at yahoo.com. This is ex-Bethelite signing out.